So I want you to imagine yourself in your grave, and the angels, they approach you. They ask you the three all-important questions to see if you pass the test of life. Who is your Lord? What is your religion? And who is your prophet? Imagine you're in that state right now. Will you be able to answer those questions? You need to live by these answers so you can answer them in your grave. But a person can't live by something that he or she does not know. So you have to learn these things. For that reason, we have a Islamic studies program, and we'd like to invite you to take a look at the program by joining our Telegram group at the link below. And if you like it, inshallah ta'ala, and you think this is something that could be suitable for you, and you may be able to learn your deen here, then you can register for the first year of our program. And hopefully, we see you on the other side. Assalamu alaikum.
Inshallah ta'ala, in today's class, we will take those who inherit from the women. Al-warithatu min al-nisa. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wa salatu wa salamu ala ashraf al-anbiya wal mursaleen. Nabina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa sallama tasliman kathira. Amma ba'd. Al-warithatu min al-nisa. Those who inherit from the women. Those who inherit from the women. Female inheritors. How many think there are? 10. Does anyone differ with that? Why does the poet though say وَالْوَارِثَاتُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ سَبْعُ لَمْ يُعْطِ أُنْثَ غَيْرَهُنَّ شَرْعُ. Poet, he says, Sahib al-Rahbiyah, those who inherit from the women, the female inheritors are 7. But you're right. هذا بطريق البسط, they call it. Right? Why do they say 7? وَالْوَارِثَاتُ مِنَ النِّسَاءِ سَبْعُ لَمْ يُعْطِ أُنْثَ غَيْرَهُنَّ الشَّرْعُ. Right? And then he says بِنْتٌ وَبِنْتُ ابْنٍ وَأُمٌّ مُشْفِقَةٌ. First one that he mentions is bint. Bintun, which means daughter. What does that say? Bintul ibn. Bintul ibn. What would that be? The granddaughter. How many is that? 2, right? Bintun wa bintul ibni. Bintun wa bintu ibnin wa ummun mushfiqah. The third one that the poet mentions is your caring mother. وَزَوْجَةٌ وَجَدَّةٌ وَمُعْتِقَةٌ. Next part of the line of poetry says Zawja. Who's the Zawja? Everybody knows that though, right? Number 5 is the Mu'tiqah. Zawj, la. He mentions Jadda in the line of poetry. We'll just go with how it's mentioned in the line of poetry. Jadda. What's the Jadda, brothers? Grandmother. Number 6. What is mentioned in the line of poetry is the female who freed a slave, but we'll leave her last, inshallah ta'ala. Okay? Then he says, وَالْأُخْتُ مِنْ أَيِّ الْجِهَاتِ كَانَتْ. Ukht. What does ukht mean? Sister. فَهَذِهِ عِدَّتُهُنَّ بَانَتْ مُعْتِقَةٌ. The woman who freed a slave. How many is that altogether? وإن sorry bint al-ibn. Okay, so you have bint and you have ibn. You have a daughter and you have a son. Your son, right? Inshallah ta'ala, you'll call your son Yahya, Abu Yahya. Right? Ahmed will have inshallah ta'ala a son called Yahya. And then Yahya not gives birth, but he gets married and then she ends up giving birth. Of course, today they might say that Yahya gives birth, right? Yahya gets married and then his wife gives birth. What is she now to Yahya? His son. What is Yahya now to you? Your son. Then what is the daughter of Yahya to you? Bint Libn, granddaughter. واضح? Make sense so far? How many is that? 7. What's your name? Abdurrahman. Earlier Abdurrahman said, those who inherit from the women are 10. And then he thought he made a mistake. I told him after that he was right as well. Right? And that is because some of these points, they branch out. Like, what does that say here? Jidda, right? Who's your Jidda? Grandmother. How many do you have? Right? So you passed away and you left behind a paternal and a maternal grandmother. They both are from the inheritors. Make sense? So I'm going to write next to it in pink, paternal, and the P and the M are for Jaddaha, not Zawja. There isn't a paternal wife and a maternal. واضح? We know we have 2 what? Grandmothers, right? طيب. Ukht. Before we move on to the ukht, how many are we on now? 8. Abdurrahman said 10, right? And we said that he was correct. Haya, who do you think is left? So you have a full sister, which is here, right? What other kind of sisters do you normally have as well? Huh? Half sisters from your dad's side, half sisters from your mom's side. When we say P, we mean paternal. How many is that altogether, brothers? Clear so far? Pretty straightforward, right? وَالْأُخْتُ مِنْ أَيِّ الْجِهَاتِ كَانَتْ. The poet says, وَالْأُخْتُ مِنْ أَيِّ الْجِهَاتِ كَانَتْ. From whatever direction he comes from. The full sister, the half sister from your mom's side, the half sister from your dad's side. Does everybody have that conceptualized in their brain? Right? For example now, my dad gets married to other than my mom, has kids, right? Allah Azza wa Jalla blesses him with a daughter. What does that daughter of his, right? What's her relationship to me? Half sister from that side. طيب. My mom, she separates from my dad, then gets married. She has children. She ends up having a daughter. What does that daughter have to do with me? She's my half sister from mom's side. Make sense? Can you see how it stimulates the brain? The more you work your brain, this is the riyada of the brain. This exercise of the brain, the more you become what? Ibn al-Qayyim rahmatullahi alayhi actually says this when speaking about memorization or whatever, right? He says it's like riyada. It is like sports. Can anybody here just go into the gym and start picking up 200 kilos and he's never been to the gym before? That's your Ahmed, huh? Allahumma barik. Huh? You have to what? Train. Get used to it. Right? Your muscles rip and then they reform. Make sense? Your memorization is like that as well. And these kind of equations, what it does, it works the mind. It makes it much, much more stronger. Right? And smarter. Is everybody with me so far? Who can repeat the 7 or the 10? تفضل. والوارثات من النساء سبع.
You've got the wife.
Why are you starting the wife for? Huh? It's a continuation from our conversation earlier, right? And why are you starting with the wife, or did we start with the wife? No. Leave her. Yeah?
You've got the mother, you've got the grandmother.
An easy way to maybe remember is what we learnt with the male inheritors. Go up and then go down.
وإن على, the mother, وإن على, the grandmother. So it's not the same.
No, just start with the top. Who's at the top?
The mother.
The mother and then?
The grandmother.
And the grandmother. وين على?
Yeah. And then the daughter, the granddaughter.
You got someone on top of her.
You got the daughter.
Hey, the daughter?
Then the granddaughter.
Granddaughter, excellent. How many is that?
That's
4. Yeah?
Then you got the sister, the paternal sister, the maternal sister.
Are we going to put her on the left or the right?
The right.
The brothers for the brothers. The brothers for the male, the brothers for the brothers. Are on which side?
Right side.
The right. Hey, stick with the right.
So that's 3.
طيب. Yeah?
And then you've got the wife, and then you've got the one who freed the slave.
There's one left. Earlier when we said up,
You got the
who's at the top?
paternal grandmother.
Now you got the mother,
Yeah.
and you got
Grandma.
2 on top of her. So there's 3 at the top now.
No.
So how many at the top? 3. How many at the bottom? 2. How many on the right? Where the sisters are, right? How many? 3. How are the other side? Who's on the other side? There isn't. Yeah. So you have what? The wife then, and also the one who freed the slave. Ahmed, may Allah honor you. Just don't start with the wife again, huh? Hey, anyone else who can break it down in this manner? So we don't have anybody on the left now, right? We have guys, not guys, but people at the top, people at the bottom, people on the right. And then you have the 2 who always are coming in externally. Yeah. It's just the way to remember. Very easy way to remember. حبيبي the Maghribi though. تعال. Huh? I just had to pick on you, huh? Because you're in Maghribi though.
Okay, so I have the mother.
Start from the top.
The
Mother, yeah.
mother, and then 2 grandmothers, paternal, maternal. You have a daughter and a granddaughter. Then on the right you have 4
When you say granddaughter, make sure you guys mention bint al-ibn, right? Because also your daughter's daughter is your granddaughter, but she's not from the inheritors. Why? Because there is what? There's a woman in between. No. Okay, so make sure you mention your granddaughter, but from the son. No. How many are we on? 3 at the top, 2 at the bottom. That's 5 so far.
Then
You got another 5 left.
Okay, so full sister, maternal sister, and paternal sister. Then
Are they on the right or the left?
on the right.
The right. Yeah.
Okay, then the woman that freed the slave, and the wife.
My wife. The one that Ahmed started with. What's your name, Akhi? Khalid. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. What we went through today is, right, those who inherit from the female, from the women. The female inheritors. Look, al-warithatu min al-nisa. Female inheritors. Right? Our brothers, they came all the way from East London. So we're going to have to explain it one last time. I need one last brother, inshaAllah ta'ala. And they got caught up in traffic. I think there was an accident. Who wants to mention everything again, inshaAllah ta'ala? Who inherits from the female or from the women? Go ahead, tafadhal. Do you guys remember, right? Last week we talked about who's at the top, who's at the bottom, on the left and the right, and then the 2 that come into the equation, right? From the outside, right? The wife, not the wife, the husband, and also the one who freed the slave. So 13, people at the top, people at the bottom, people on the left and people on the right. and then 2 that come in. It's just a way to remember. And I told you guys it was a Sudani brother who taught me that. Right? No other teacher ever taught me that. A brother who I have to now listen to in order for him to pass the exam so he can enter into the halaqah. And he's saying, I've got a very nice way of remembering it. And wallahi, alhamdulillah, has benefited everybody here. Right, tfaddal.
So you have the mother, the grandmother, there's 2 grandparents, so from the
So
mother
who's
side,
at the top?
the mother.
Mother. Yeah.
And then the grandmother from paternal side, maternal side.
And we also say وَإِنْ عَلَتْ. No. So how many is altogether? 3 at the top.
Yeah, 3.
Who's at the bottom?
Then you have the daughter and Bint al-Ibn, the granddaughter from the son.
Right,
Then on the right you have the full sister, the half sister from the maternal side and the paternal side.
How many is altogether now?
2 at the bottom and then 3 more on the right. 5, 6, 7,
So
7,
Sure.
and then there's nothing on the left.
no, that's way.
No, okay. You have
How many at the top?
1, 4, 3.
3. Your mum, your 2 grandmothers.
Okay.
Right? That's 3 at the top. As opposed to the male inheritors. How many at the top for the male inheritors? 2.
And then you have what's left. We have the wife and the woman free to slave. The woman free to slave.
Excellent. So 3 at the top, 2 at the bottom, 3 on the right side. Don't make them in ashab al-shimal, huh? Ashab al-yamin. Right? Those who pick up their book, inshallah ta'ala, from the right side. That's how we remember the right side for the women. So 3 at the top, 2 at the bottom. How many on the right side? 3. And then those 2 who come in from the outside, they are the wife and also. Excellent. Well done, brothers. Wallahi, that's amazing. You guys understood that and memorized it? That's very, very amazing.
You know the mother, how come her daughter inherits, that's your sister, it's the connection is a woman,
You mean the
the half sister?
أخت لأم?
Yeah.
There's one scenario, وهذا بالإجماع. Because there's a unanimous agreement on it. That's basically something that is outside of the qa'ida that we mentioned. Yeah? I know which one you're talking about. And I think one of the other brothers raised that last week as well. بالإجماع. Huh? Because there's a recitation of, I think it's قراءة ibn Mas'ud. إخوة أي لأم in the Quran. Huh? طيب. A couple of weeks ago, brothers, we talked about those who have infinite shares of what is left behind. You guys remember that? They are referred to in the Sharia as Ashabul Furud. Ashabul Furud. Okay? Those who have infinite shares. You guys remember? Right? They have an allocated amount that is specified to them in the Quran. Right? And there are how many fractions? 6. Those who Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has allocated a specific amount to. The moment an individual passes away, right? There are those who are going to come and take their share. Right? From the wealth that has been left behind and also from the assets that have been left behind. Right? Are you guys with me? Did I say infinite or definite? I think I meant definite shares. Infinite. Sounds like infinity. Huh? Not definite shares, that's sibir ton. Okay? So if Ashabul Furud, those who are entitled to definite shares of the assets that have been left behind. Anything with value, right? Whether it is money, whether it is a car, whether it is property, whether it is land, right? They have definite shares. They are in the Sharia referred to as Ashabul Furud. Ashabul Furud. Who remembers the 6 fractions very, very quickly?
First group, which is half, a quarter, and an eighth.
Excellent. Half, half, half. Half, quarter, eighth. Hiya, next one.
And then the second group, which is a third, two.
No. Start with what our sister benefited us with.
She did a sixth. All around is a third, 2/3, and a sixth.
طيب, what's half of 2/3? Third. What's half of the third? 6th. Our sister, may Allah Azza wa Jal honor her, she said right? We can apply the same principle as we did with the first group. You have 2/3, you half that, you get a third. And then you half a third, you get a sixth. A little bit like halving a half, you get a quarter. Halving that quarter, you get an eighth. It's just an easy way to remember. You can memorize it like the brother done. There's nothing wrong with that. But all of these are ways of easily remembering it. May Allah reward that sister. طيب. What are we going to write here? Definite shares, right? طيب, what are we going to put here? Those who inherit by way of ta'asib, which means, what's my favorite word? Residuary beneficiary, which basically means that they take the remainder. And inshallah ta'ala, for each category, I will give you guys examples of those who inherit in that way. And you look a little bit confused. Residuary beneficiary. When translated into more simpler English, it means after you've given everyone their definite share, there is a remainder. Sah? Who do you then give it to? Those of this category. The residuary beneficiary. واضح? Those who take the remainder. We'll put that in brackets. Residuary beneficiaries. Make sense? Residuary beneficiaries. واضح? طيب, then we have a third category, brothers and sisters. Okay? There are those who inherit. There are those who inherit. At times, they are entitled to definite shares. And there are times they become residuary beneficiaries. It can't happen at the same time. Sometimes they are of this category, and sometimes they are what? Residuary beneficiaries. Meaning they will only take if there is that which remains. Make sense? So how should we try translate this in English? Sometimes they are entitled to definite shares. Sometimes entitled to definite shares. And other times, you guys can put that in your own English. And other times, they are residuary beneficiaries. بالفروض تارة وبالتعصيب تارة. Right? And then there's the final category. Dig another pen. الذين يرثون بالفروض والتعصيب معا. الذين يرثون بالفروض والتعصيب معا. Which basically means they may be entitled to definite shares, while at the same time, if there's something left, they take that as well. An example of someone who is entitled to definite shares. A father. How much is the father entitled to? 6. Don't worry, we'll come on to all of that as well. But for the time being, I gave you guys some fractions, right? And some inheritors and what they are entitled to. Father is one of those who has been allocated a definite share. How much does he get? A 6th. Right? Coming to that. Huh? I'm going to come to that. Allah says in the Quran, وَلِأَبَوَيْهِ لِكُلِّ وَاحِدٍ مِّنْهُمَ السُّدُسُ مِمَّا تَرَكَ إِنْ كَانَ لَهُ وَلَدٍ. The father takes a sixth. The father takes a sixth if there is a child in the equation. Just take Abu Taymiyyah as an example. Is his father alive? Al-Sharif Toz. Huh? Dad's still alive. Now, may Allah have mercy on the Hajj operators. Looks like a lot of them are going to go bust. Tayyib, my father is alive. What does Allah say in the Quran? The parents, they are entitled to a sixth if there is a child in the equation. Does Abu Taymiyyah have a child? Taymiyyah. Sah? So automatically, the father will get what? A sixth just for having a child in the equation. If you guys don't understand what I'm saying, don't worry about it now, right? Might be a little bit overwhelming. But I just want to get a point across to you guys. فإن لم يكن له ولد وورثه أبواه فلأمه أو فلأمه الثلث. According to Khalif al-Hamza. فلأمه. Assalamu alaikum. Are you brothers and sisters with me? Right? Allah then says, if there is no children in the equation, the father takes everything and the mother takes the third. When we say everything, what does that remind you of? Which category? Everything. So after you give the mother her third, her definite share, there is a remainder. Who takes it? Father. طيب, but we mentioned that the father, he has a sixth allocated to him. But then in another scenario, he's taking the remainder. Set portion. And then there's a scenario that he might take the remainder. Right? And there's another scenario, brothers. Right? He will take his sixth, and if there's something remaining, he's going to take that as well. Does that make sense? So what should we call this one? Definite shares plus the remainder. Yani in an equation, after he's given his sixth, right? And then every other individual who's entitled to a definite share is given theirs. Then there's some left. Who would you give it to? Father. This is what that basically means. Let me give you guys a quick mas'ala, inshallah ta'ala, right? Let's see if it works out as this part, inshallah. I'm going to try and fit it in here. I try to leave a place open. طيب. I pass away. I leave behind who? Father, mother, wife, or wives, and Taymiyyah. Huh? Father, mother, daughter, wife. Based on what we just quickly learned now, how much do the parents get? Is there a child in the equation? طيب. How many does the father get? Six. Six. Mother takes the sixth as well. The daughter takes how much? Good. What about wife? Eighth. Excellent. Hiya. What's the base number? You have an eighth in the equation, you also have a sixth in the equation. Huh? Excellence. Very well done, brothers. MashaAllah, we're getting somewhere. So you have the first group and you also have the second group. First group, which fraction do we have from the first group? Eighth. And then you have what? The sixth as well from the second group. The base number is 24. Hiya? Father gets a sixth. طيب, how much is a sixth of that? 4. Mother? 4. Taymiyyah? 12. Wife? 3. Add that up, do the maths. 23. How much left? 1. Who takes it? Excellent. Plus 1. How much is that altogether? That makes the father from which category, brothers, also? And which other category as well? Second one as well. He is from those who takes the remainder in certain scenarios. Sorry, I'll take that all back. Right? No. He's part of this one and he's part of that one as well. He's either going to get his definite share, which is 6th, as allocated to him in the Quran. Right? And there is scenarios after he's given his allocated definite share, there is a remainder. We give that to the dad as well. Make sense? Huh?
In this example, why does the dad get the remainder?
Why does he get the remainder? Because he's part of this group as well. Right? I remember my teacher, I asked the same question. I said to my teacher, why is it that we can't give the remainder now to the brothers and the sisters that are alive? Right? Because I have brothers and sisters. He said to me, your dad's looking at you. Right? And you have all these brothers and sisters, your dad's looking at you. And you're going to go and give it to them? أنت ومالك لأبيك. As the Prophet ﷺ said, you and your wealth are possessed by who? Your father. Owned by your father. Not possessed, but owned by your father. Right? And I never forgot this example. Like imagine your dad's looking at you, miskeen. Huh? He's old in age. Doesn't work. All your brothers and sisters, mashallah, tabarakallah, they work. Right? And he's looking at you. And you have something left. Who are you going to go and give it to? You're going to go to your father. Make sense? Take this also as a principle, yeah? As long as your father is alive, all your brothers and sisters, you can throw them out of the equation. I told all my brothers and sisters, listen, my dad's alive, no one takes a single penny from my inheritance as long as he's alive. Everyone's like, oh wow, subhanAllah, I didn't know it worked like that. Yes, you don't take nothing. Right? As long as the father is alive, your brothers and sisters, kick them out the equation. I hope you guys don't forget that. I don't think you're going to forget that as well after that example. Okay? So this was the perfect example, right, to explain this one. Father, he takes what? A 6th. And now, how much were we giving him in that equation? 4. What else did we give him? 1. This is the remainder. And this was his allocated amount, right? That Allah Azza wa Jalla prescribed for him in the Quran. Who can give me another example of someone who's entitled to the definite shares? Huh? Mother, excellent. Jazakallah khair. How much does the mom get, brothers? Only a 6th? There are times when she might take a 3rd. That's a comma, by the way, huh? It's a comma. Allah Azza wa Jal, what did he say? ولأبويه لكل واحد منهما السدس مما ترك إن كان له ولد فإن لم يكن له ولد وورثه أبواه فلأمه الثلث. Put your hand up if you're single. Ahmed, Ahmed is our perfect example today. Ahmed, you got parents, right? You got any children? Wives? That nobody knows about? That might have kids as well? طيب. You pass away tomorrow, how much do your parents get? Your father's alive, صح? Mom's alive. How much does your dad get? There's no children in the equation. Don't worry, when they get this and when they get that, we'll come on to all of that. There's durus coming of that. Like we will be taking shortly, inshallah ta'ala, well soon, Ashabun Nisf. Right? Those who are from the companions of half. Those who are the companions of a sixth. Those who are the companions of 2/3. Right? So, your mom takes a third. Why? فإن لم يكن له ولد وورثه أبواه فلأمه الثلث أو فلأمه الثلث. Right? Mom takes the third and the father takes the rest. واضح؟ طيب. Mother is part of that. Who else is part of that category? Huh? My daughter. نعم صحيح. Daughter. She can sometimes take what? Half. And in some scenarios, the daughters with an S, they'll take 2/3 and so on and so forth. But we'll come on to all of that inshallah. Who else you think? Ahmed? Earlier you mentioned somebody. No, who you started with? Wife. Wife is entitled as well. How much is she entitled to? You're pressing your wife now. Huh? Is that it? Eighth. She only gets an eighth if a condition is met. There's two. We're going to come on to all of the conditions when she takes an eighth, when she takes a fourth. Okay? There are times when she takes the fourth and times when she takes an eighth. Who else? Come on, brothers. Who's the opposite of a wife? Husband. Husband, brothers. How much does the husband get? Half and? There are times when he might get a half and there's times when he might get a quarter. These are just some examples. I have a lot of, examples written down. 7 fall under the first category. 7. But we won't go into all of that inshallah ta'ala as it may confuse you. Okay? I might send it to you guys as a PDF that you memorize. But now, without confusing the listener, we just brought some examples. All of these fractions are mentioned in the Quran. Allah Azza wa Jal, He allocated these shares to them, these amounts to them, بِكِتَابِ اللَّهِ, all written in the book of Allah Azza wa Jal. وَلَكُمْ نَصْفُ مَا تَرَكَ أَزْوَاجُكُمْ وَلَهُنَّ الثُّمُنُ وَلَكُمُ الرُّبُعُ إلى آخره. There's so many fractions that each has been allocated to. So if there is an allocated specific amount for inheritor, which category does he fall in? First category. Those who are entitled to definite shares. Make sense? Hope you guys wrote that down, yeah? How did you guys find fara'id? Works the brain, صح? طيب, some examples of the residuary beneficiary or the residuary beneficiaries. Uncle, excellent. Because we took that before, صح? Who else? No, but because he's been given a definite share, we can't just like throw him in that category. This is only those who get remainder. He is someone who's entitled to a definite share, and he will take the remainder if there's anything left. So that's why we have a separate category for him. Excellent. No. Right? All the brothers, or should I say, not all of the brothers, because you have akhun li which falls into the top category. طيب, write down brothers, full brothers. Write that down. Full brothers. Also the paternal brother. I have 12 written down that fall under this category. 12. Who else? Okay, let's learn a couple of new terms here, brothers. Anyone on top is referred to as al-usul. Usul. Anyone at the bottom is referred to as furu'. Those on the sides are referred to as hawashi. I'm just throwing that in. Make sense? طيب. Let's now look down a little bit. We always talk about Taymiyyah, how she's entitled to a half. What about now her brother? Imagine, let's just take Taymiyyah out of the equation. Imagine I had a son. Ahmed earlier he mentioned that he wants to name his son Yahya. Sahih? If you pass away and you leave behind Yahya, which category would Yahya fall into? You sure? What, you're going to give him half? Yahya, the son of Ahmed, right, would fall under second category. He's a residuary beneficiary. Son. Probably think to yourself, how is he? It seems like he's getting less than the daughter. La, trust me. The son blocks out a lot of guys in the equation. Just me throwing this in now, right? As long as you have a son, brothers and your sisters, they take nothing. They block out the hawashi. They block out all of your uncles, those on the left and those on the right as well, because of that son. Right? Make sense? So you got uncles, you got also brothers, right? Full brothers and the half paternal brother. As for the half maternal brother, he would fall under there, but that's a discussion for another day, which I don't want to now at this moment in time confuse you guys with. Are you guys with me? So how many would fall under the first category? How many did I mention earlier? 7. How many in the second category? 12. Now you have the third category. There are 4. There are 4. There are 4. We mentioned here that sometimes they are entitled to definite shares. And at other times they what? They take the remainder. They take the remainder. Remember the question you asked me? Do you remember who was in the equation? No, the one that you messaged me about.
I was going to ask you that about the sister, because the daughters have no kids.
Just tell us how many people are in the equation. So who passed away?
My uncle, my aunt's husband.
Okay, a guy passed away. He left behind a wife, 2 daughters, 2 sisters. A wife, 2 daughters, and 2 sisters. Right?
The daughters have no kids. Those are the sisters, right?
When you have a wife and you have daughters, the daughters, just to, just mention this in passing without confusing you guys, they would be entitled to 2/3. The daughters. Which category are they from? 2/3. Top one. They are entitled to a definite share. They have a fraction. Anyone with a fraction from the book of Allah, they fall under. واضح? Also, sisters, Allah Azza wa Jal gave them an allocated amount. However, now you have daughters and you have sisters as well. Right? Generally speaking, they would drop them and kick them out of the equation. However, if there is something left, they would be falling under this category and taking that which remains. There's a qa'idah, there's a principle which is extremely, extremely handy. And don't worry about it now. And it's one of my favorite qawa'id. It saved me 14 points in one of my inheritance exams. Anybody who acted upon this principle, he got that extra 14 points. Whoever didn't, he dropped 14 points. Just like that with 2 questions. What is that principle? Al-akhawatu ma'al banati asabat. I remember my teacher instilled that within me. He branded me with it. Wallahi. He would actually get physical with me at times as well. If I made a mistake, not having applied this principle. Al-akhawat, meaning sisters, with banat, daughters, makes them residuary beneficiaries. So in summary, I'll just quickly mention that. Allah Azza wa Jal allocated definite shares to the sisters. That would make them part of first category. However, there are times, because of someone else in the equation, right? Because of someone else in the equation, they become residuary beneficiaries.
So in that case, does the fraction get dropped?
Fraction gets dropped. Right? If there is something left, they take it. Like the question that our brother asked me a couple of days ago, and then I calculated for him and sent it to him. There was what? Daughters in the equation, and there was sisters in the equation. Normally when you're told of an equation, sisters and daughters, right? You say straight away, khalas, the sisters have been kicked out of the equation. But no, the qa'idah. Sisters with daughters makes the sisters residuary beneficiaries. Make sense? Remember how I earlier mentioned, as long as you have sons, it kicks out the brothers. Here, you've got daughters. Does it kick the sisters out? If there is something left, they take it. واضح? But anyways, that's we'll get to all of that inshaAllah ta'ala. There is 4 in that equation, or in this section, and then you also have, subhanAllah. You have 2 in this part. Father and also grandfather. The grandfather is part of this category as well. He is given his allocated amount, just like the father, a 1/6. And then if there's something left, he would take that as well if he's in the equation. واضح? And I gave you guys the example of, if I was to pass away, who would take that which I leave behind? After we gave everyone their allocated amount, we gave them their definite shares. There was how many left out of the 24? 1. Why didn't we give it to my brother? Because the father is alive. Anta wa maluka li abika. You and also your wealth is owned by Allah, by your father. If you guys have understood fara'id up until this point, Allahumma barik. Right? You'll forget it if you don't revise it. I hope inshaAllah ta'ala with some of the methods that I gave you all, right? Okay? You're able to remember a lot of that which we mentioned. Especially now, al-warithun min al-rijal, the male inheritors. And then you also have female inheritors. Right? Can we have one brother quickly, inshaAllah ta'ala, that can give me all the male inheritors and the female inheritors with the method that I went through? Ahmed? تفضل. Ahmed has been the star of the show today. Allahu barik. Come give us the brothers with the order. Don't start with the wife.
No.
Huh? Don't start with the wife. Just start with how? Explain it.
With the brothers, you have above, which is the father and the grandfather, and whoever's above that.
Excellent.
Below, and you have below the son and the grandson and whoever's below that. And then to the side you have the brother.
Who's the side?
The right.
Okay, the right.
You have the brothers, the full brothers, paternal brothers, maternal brothers, and then the full brothers and paternal brothers' kids.
Excellent. How many is that on that side?
That's 5.
5. How many at the top?
2.
2. How many at the bottom?
2.
How much is that altogether?
9.
9.
And then on the other side,
Yeah.
it's the uncles. You have the full uncle, the paternal uncle, and their kids. That's 4. So that
4. 5, 4, 9, plus 2, 11, plus 2, 13.
13.
And then you got 2.
And then you've got the husband, and you've got the one who freed the slave.
How many is that altogether? 15.
Right.
Wallahi, brothers, you know how quickly you guys learned? It took me ages to get my head around the 15. May Allah reward that Sudani brother.
Ameen.
Right?
And
Hey,
then
go on to the sisters.
with the sisters, you have the mother, and the grandmother, and the paternal grandmother, and
So you said mother,
yeah,
and you said grandmother, and then the paternal grandmother.
yeah. So basically, paternal and maternal.
Excellent.
Yeah.
قل هكذا.
Okay, no,
And anyone?
and anyone above. So that's
Yeah.
3 at the top,
3 at the top.
and then you have the daughter, the granddaughter, and anyone below.
Excellent. How
So
many is
that's
that? 5. Oh, yeah.
And then you have the sisters, and the paternal. maternal.
والأخت من أي الجهات كانت. هيا.
Yeah, that's 3 sisters. The full sister, paternal, maternal.
Paternal.
That's 3.
That's 3. How many at the top? 3.
3.
How many at the bottom?
2.
2.
It's 5. 3 is 8.
هيا.
And then you have the wife and the one who freed the slave.
الله أكبر. جزاك الله خير.
Oh, yeah.
أحمد.
barakallah feek.
نورني يا أحمد.
آمين.
اللهم بارك. Did everybody get that? Wasn't that difficult, right? ما شاء الله تبارك الله. And that's our lesson for today. Nabil, you've got a lot of catching up to do. Huh? But mashallah, I think everybody who attended from the beginning, it's pretty clear. Everybody understood that. Jazakumullah khairan, brothers and sisters, for attending the class. I will stop there. I hope you guys are revising whatever we're taking in the inheritance class. Wallahi, I'm so proud of every single one of you guys. Wallahi. The fact that you guys have managed to get your next around what we've been taking, al-warithuna min al-rijali, wal-warithatu min al-nisa'i, right? And how to calculate the base number. And who is a residuary beneficiary, and who is what? Entitled to a definite share. Right? If you guys have managed to understand that, inshallah, on your way to becoming faradiyun. Huh? Jazakumullah khair.